Have team coverage here of this train collapse in Tribeca, from the witnesses to the investigation. Let's go to Lou Young right now with more on what happened. Lou?
Christine, Worth Street was closed during the portion of the morning rush when this happened, and lucky it was the crane was being stowed, lining up along the street when it fell. And even experienced construction workers say it was surreal, like watching a slow-motion disaster.
Yeah, it looked like the typical crane being lowered down due to, the weather conditions.
No real hint of trouble in the moments before it all came crashing down. The big rig, owned by Bay Cranes of Queens and operated by Galasso Trucking and Rigging, was being secured because of the weather. Construction workers, told to step inside from their jobs because of the winds, watched from above. For some reason, the operator was having trouble getting it down.
First attempt went about maybe 10 o'clock horizontal, and the wind started blowing, so they went back up with it. On the second attempt to lower it, that's when it got out of control, and then it collapsed.
Holy no. Falling. It's falling. It's falling. Oh, it broke. Holy.
The operator lost his battle to control the crane from here. That's the cab he was sitting in. When the boom got away from him, it crashed to the ground with enough force to flip the cab onto its roof, the massive metal treads pointing to the sky.
It was like bombs was going off.
On Worth Street, they first saw construction workers running. Then the crane clipped the building at 57 Worth. We later learned the metal weight at the end of the cable ended up in an office. Then tons of metal slamming down at street level, like a twisted strand of massive DNA amid the falling masonry. A crushed car with a trapped driver in the middle of the street. A whole row of parked cars crumbled on the south side of the block.
It made a loud noise, and we all ran to help. All of us tried to run to help, and then we saw a man trapped, but they wouldn't let us go no further.
The building shook. It felt like an earthquake.
Nearby buildings were evacuated, including New York Law School. Water and gas service was shut down as precaution against leaks. Subways were ordered to bypass the stops at Chambers and Franklin Streets. Emergency responders flooded the scene, and considering the scope of the damage, found relatively few casualties.
Two guys ran to the right, one guy ran to the left, and I believe the guy that ran to the left is the one that was killed.
Police tell us 38-year-old Upper West Side resident David Wicks was killed instantly as he walked along Worth Street. Two people were hospitalized, neither with life-threatening injuries. Mayor de Blasio, after inspecting the damage in Tribeca, ordered all 376 crawler cranes and 53 tower cranes operating in the city secured while we try to figure out precisely what went wrong with this one.
I'm not going to minimize what's happened here. We have to figure out what happened. We have to make sure it doesn't happen again.
You're looking live along the sidewalk at West Broadway and Worth, and there is part of the crane as it lays all along this stretch, as Christine mentioned at the top. Experts tell me the winds that were gusting to 30 miles an hour were not strong enough to topple the crane on its own, but they also say these cranes are most stable when holding a load, and this one, as you saw in the video there, was not. We're live in Tribeca. Lou Young, CBS 2 News.